stolen from your world, dealing with a breakup, wandering away, heading for the water. It's one more year today. I wonder if it matters. I have said too much, I do agree. If I had my way, you come back. I would like to see those hazel eyes again. As I sit here, sitting all alone, on the same place you kept telling me I was the one. And all these letters, everything we knew. Even though you're gone away, my heart has gone with you. Night turns into day. I don't wanna wait home. Weekend feels the same. Nobody will ever know. And it's a kind of limbo that I'm in. When are you gonna let me slowly touch your skin? You and me will never be. It's clear to see I've said too much, I do agree. If I had my way, you come back. I just like to see those hazel eyes again. As I sit here, sitting all alone, on the same place you kept telling me I was the one. And all these letters, everything we knew. Even though you've gone away, my heart has gone with you. Even though you've gone away, my heart has gone I'm getting tired of your bullshit. I'm tired of your voice. I'm getting tired of the way you leave me hanging with no choice. If you would ask me long ago, back when you seduced me, yeah, I felt like you kinda knew, but I knew you were liability. You said, baby, I've been dying to see you. Almost thought we were through. I've been busy hanging with my boys, but you look stunning. I forgot how fine you are, but I didn't forget to give you a call. I was just busy with, oh, shut up, shut up, Such a dumb, 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 dumb. you would ask me to let it go, already knew you were poison. Yet I felt like a domino when you showed up here. He said, baby, I've been dying to see you. Almost thought we were blind. I've been busy hanging with my boys, but you look stunning. I forgot how fine you are, but I didn't forget to give you a call. I was just busy with, oh, shut up, 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 shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Such a dumb, 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 dumb. It's almost funny. The way he believes in his own lies, or the way he believes that my doubts won't rise. Oh, shut up, 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 shut up, 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 up. Such a dumb, 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 dummy. It's almost funny. Although I cry myself to sleep, although I think you're all I need, I have to get a grip of this. I have to let this feeling slip. Oh, shut up, 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 shut up, 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 up. Such a dumb, 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 dummy. It's almost funny. Oh, shut up, 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 shut up, 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 up. Such a dumb, 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 dummy. It's almost funny. Although I cry myself to sleep, although I know you're bad for me, I have to lay my hands on this bag you have. I could dry out in the sun for you. Follow the deep dark ocean down. For you, I'd build the biggest kite and spend all of my time giggling. Daydreaming is my new middle name. This is not a game for me. Imagining is my new best friend, and ready's all I see. I got a PhD in love. Every step, every breath for you. My head's up over the clouds for you. If there's a valley, I'd build a bridge so that you could get by. Or I'd grow wings so we could fly. Daydreaming is my new middle name. This is not a game for me. Imagining is my new best friend, and ready's all I see. I got a PhD in love. My heart covers every degree, but there's no guarantee in love. this beer. It tastes so different. I hate these people. They're all so ignorant. I hate this song. It's like I'm alone among these friends I've always known. No, not ever, never, ever will you come home again. I gave all of me, you gave none of you. Yet I couldn't see all these lies were true. What do you say? Oh, when your friends ask why we broke up, what do you do? You did everything you said you never would. Gaslighting me when I found out that you could. Oh, what a shame. Oh, when your friends ask why we broke up, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? I hate this train, shouts in my ear, and I hate the fact that you ain't here, and I hate that you sleep so peacefully. Well, I haven't slept for several weeks. No, not ever, never, ever will you come home again. I gave all of me, you gave none of you. Yet I couldn't see all these lies were true. What do you say? Oh, when your friends ask why we broke up, what do you do? Did everything you said you never would. Gaslighting me when I found out that you could. Oh, what a shame. Oh, when your friends ask why we broke up, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? I gave all of me, you gave none of you. Yet I couldn't see all these lies were true. You did everything you said you never would. Gaslighting me when I found out that you could.
To be honest, I don't think about you. To be honest, I got better things to do. To be honest, I don't care that we're over. Been fine since you told me you don't love me anymore. To be honest, I like sleeping alone. Yeah, I'm totally okay on my own. I don't even need your arms around me. I don't need you to tell me it's gonna be alright. Well, you think I'm lying to myself, but the truth is I don't need you. 'Cause I'm one in a million, and that means I'll find a better you someday. To be honest, I don't miss you. To be honest, I don't think about her. Your new girlfriend, now she's your whole world. I don't mind you posting pictures. I could watch those photos 10 times. I swear I feel nothing at all. You think I'm lying to myself, but the truth is I don't need you. 'Cause I'm one in a million, and that means I'll find a better you someday. To be honest, I don't miss you. To be honest,